Hello. I got kicked out. I'm back. My session today is about using technology with English learners. So I have a couple of guests that I think are going to be joining me in just a moment. Let's see. It should be coming. Let me make sure that I sent that. Yes, there she is. We have in 1 hour a student panel that will be happening at the 8 o'clock Eastern time. But a couple of those students are already at my house and are just in the other room and going to use some technology over there. So they're going to be joining me. But I'm going to go ahead and start so that, because to honor your time. You know what? I'm just going to double check on them. Hang on. Are y'all having any trouble? Okay, so you need to go to the link that I just sent you, not the one that we did before. So close out of all the things that we did before. And I should have just sent you an email with a new link. And y'all go to that one, okay? And if not, it's no big deal because I'm going to do this session. And hey, Ali, will you come over here in a minute if it doesn't work? Okay, thanks. Sorry. This is real life. So we're getting ready for our next session, but they're going to try to join us in a minute. So thanks for joining me. Again, this is using technology with English learners. And I'm going to be working today from a Padlet. There we are. Okay. Okay. But before we get started, because I didn't plan to have guests, but will you guys go ahead and just tell who you are so that the people watching know who my guests are for this technology session?
All right, sure. Go first.
Thank you. My name is Wendy Rodriguez. I'm from Venezuela, and I've been in the U.S. for about 2 years and 4 months.
So my name is Ali. I'm from Syria. I'm 17 years old, and I've been here for 2 years and 1 month.
Fantastic. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining us. It's not something I had planned, but I'm like, why not? Why would we not all talk about this together? So what I'm going to do, and I hope everybody gives me grace, I'm going to screen share. And so I'm going to shut this door real quick because I can hear a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to screen share. And then I'm going to go over to a Padlet. So if you're watching, you'll see the address of the Padlet at the top of this video. And you can always rewatch this video later and get the Padlet later. It's basically something that you can copy and use everything that I'm sharing with you. You would be able to use it there. So you should be able to see my screen right now. Hey, Wendy and Ali, can y'all see the Padlet?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So this is where I'm going to be sharing from, and we're probably not going to talk about all of this stuff, but the first thing right here is just my contact information. I don't think we're going to go over blind Kahoots. I've done quite a lot of those, but I want y'all to have the link to a different way to use Kahoot. What I want to talk about first, before we talk about any of this stuff, is what, as teachers, we should be doing with technology or what we're asked to do. And the goals and the place I'm getting my goals are the ISTE goals for students. Like, what are we supposed to be working toward? Of course, we have English learners, and there are so many opportunities to build their English with technology. We know some, the kids and I were talking about some that they like to use on their own time. Hey, before we even go any further, Ali and Wendy, what are some things that you guys do on your own time with technology? And I'll stop screen sharing because that might be better. What are you guys using on your own time to accelerate your English? Because if people didn't get that, you guys were already proficient in English last year, which was when you were only in the country just like 1 year. So I know you were doing some things on your own. Talk about the things you do on your own when you're not in our class.
Well, for me, I use most of the time user levels, which is just like news, but in a basic level. So level 1, 2, and 3, and it's like more words in each level. So that helps a lot because like you can understand from the first level and then when you go to the next level, you can like it's like it has more words and more vocabularies, and with the definitions down there, and there's a YouTube video also as well that tells the news or the story about it, and you can like track the print and you can hear it at the same time. That's gonna be a lot of like it's gonna be helpful. So yeah,
Absolutely.
that's
I'm
one
going
thing
to
I
go
want to
ahead.
use.
I'm going to go ahead and add news and levels to the Padlet. And that way, because I know so many of my students really like it. And there's, you know what, Ali, there's another one called News ELA, and that is very similar. But one of the reasons our class likes news and levels is because you don't need to log in. If you could give it to your friend, you could give it, if somebody's only in our class for just 1 month, or you want to tell your friends about it, there's no login required. And that some of our population, some of our kiddos are not with us for very long. So I want to make sure that they know that with news and levels, they can be reading articles articles can be read to them. And then the same article, like you said, level 2, level 3, it's really kind of fantastic. And there's choice. You get to choose the things that you do. So I appreciate you saying that about news and levels. I went ahead and put the link over in the Padlet for that.
Yep.
And so, yes, thank you.
Problem.
And how about you, Miss Wendy?
Well, I read in English. I try to find like more words, more vocabulary. If I don't know, like if I do not know something, I try to find it, that meaning, so I can learn it. I like videos, so I try to watch them in English, sometimes with captions, so I can like know the words. And I remember like to sometimes like say things out loud when I'm doing things in English. That helps me also.
So for
Also,
technology, because we're focusing on technology for this session. So I heard you say something about technology that I think is very important. And I've seen a lot of students like you do a lot, because all students like to watch their videos, their music videos, right?
yeah.
And so you said you watch them with the captions on?
Yeah, so I can like read the words that I don't know. Also, something that helps me, some apps like you can get in your phone, like Duolingo, or there's one that my mom uses. It is Wordbeat, and that gives you a word when you open your phone. That's also very helpful.
Beat, like beats?
Yeah, it's Wordbeat, like little, like beat.
Oh,
Wordbeat.
bit, word bit, B-I-T?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll search for that. And if I don't do it during this session, I will put it in the Padlet because I've not heard of that. So you just taught all of us something, something new. Tell your mom thank you too. So the thing with those kind of apps that I think that we've talked about a lot as a class, Duolingo is fantastic. Rosetta Stone is fantastic. WordBit is fantastic. All of those things are fantastic. But one of the things that we think is important is that you use those on your own time, right? Because in class, we're doing things that with technology at a different in a different way, right? Yeah. So I think that that's an important distinction, because some classrooms, that's the whole class is Duolingo or Rosetta Stone or some type of technology that's just teaching the language. And I'm not saying that's bad. I just think that some of the ways that we've used I think that's great for practice. And everybody should be practicing as much as possible. And so everything y'all are saying is fantastic. But then what are we doing as projects or with each other in class that is making a bigger impact for all of us, right? And hitting more than one thing. Would y'all agree with that?
Yeah.
The Kahoots, like
Yeah, the Kahoot stuff, and we did like talk to other people, like the archaeologists.
oh
Yeah.
Yeah,
archaeology club.
we did that as well, and that was helpful because you're able to talk to other people, and that's gonna break your fear.
Yeah, and
That's gonna break your fear. So yeah.
we were in the classroom and we could talk to Dr. Luz. He was in his office, right? So we could talk at the same time. Kahoot. So
we Skyped with him,
Yeah.
and I think here's a great thing to explain. It was very easy for him to Skype with us and George Bamfo and our other guests because we did a lot of work before we connected with them. Do y'all remember some of the things that we did before we ever saw him on the Skype?
Oh, we did some research.
yeah, we did
Yeah.
research, and that research we put it into the Kahoot, and we practiced it before
Yeah, we did as a
the video
questions.
call. Yeah.
It was the easiest thing to make. Well, first we made a Google Slides with our questions, and we had to do research, and then we had more questions. So what I call it, the system that I call that is discuss. We talked about it as a class, discuss. Then discover, and that's the research you're talking about. What is an archaeologist? Where is this guy from? And what can we learn from him? So discuss, discover. And we knew we were going to connect with him. And so to make it easy to connect with him, we created the Google Slides, and he just had to drop in pictures, but it was our questions.
Yeah.
And then we made a Kahoot about him and his life and our questions. And then we beat him at the Kahoot about his own life.
And the vocabulary
That's
also.
true.
Yeah.
That was really fun to play a connected. It was kind of unfair because we had already played it so many times. But we played a Kahoot over Skype with him. And so we all learned a lot of language. And I thought that was a great use of technology. That's more than just practice. It's authentic, right?
Also, yeah, like the thing that we're doing right now, like talking to other people live, that's a lot helpful. Like it's so fun. It's not boring like other classes that we do. It's like so good. Like you get to practice a lot like more English.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Wendy? I think I cut you off.
Also, I remember the presentations. There was one about cultures, and I remember you shared it with us, so everybody could like have access to it and add something to that. So it was very useful. It with Google Slides, right?
Yeah, I think that, do you remember that? I think that was a lady in Laos. I'll
Yeah.
see if I can find, she's on the other side of the world, and she had her students, they wanted to learn about people's cultures. So they created a Google Slide and invited people, anyone, to tell their story. And we'd already done a little presentation, 1 or 2 slides. So it was easy for us to add to their Google Slides. And the whole world was learning from that project.
Mhm.
Or I think she was sharing it beyond her classroom. But even if it was just her kids in, Laos, what an amazing thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with you, Ali. There's a lot there's a guy who wrote a book named Dan Pink. And if people out there have not read Daniel Pink's book about what really motivates people, it comes down to 3 things. Because I can't motivate you. I can't motivate either one of you. You can't motivate another person. It's a very sad thing. But the good news is that there are conditions, kind of like a gardener. You can create an environment where things grow. And if people can find their motivation more easily when these are things that normally would help people find their motivation. So one of them is authenticity. And Ali, you just said it. You just said authentically, and Wendy, you talked about the archaeologist too. That's a real conversation with real people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that makes a difference to you guys?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Because it's not the same when you are doing something like by yourself, when you can actually talk to that person, right?
Right, an authentic use of the language. So he says authenticity is one. The other one he says is autonomy. And another way to say that is choice. So I think Ali had a very good point with the reason he likes News and Levels, or the reason I like News and Levels, is because I get to choose the article that I read.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not assigned an article by my teacher in there. I can scroll through tons of articles, and then I give you guys a choice on how you're going to respond to that article. If I leave some activity, you get to choose which of those activities you want. Like, do you want to write the author a letter? Or do you want to explain this? Do you want to paraphrase it? So what do y'all think about choice with technology? I think there's a lot more opportunities for us to give students choice.
Yeah, I mean, without technology, I don't think all the students that's gonna be able like to learn English fast. There's a lot of students that can do that, but it's gonna be harder, I guess. But with technology, it's a lot helpful. Like you can use your phone to translate sometimes. Like you can use it for like watch of like if there's a book like a hard book and you can't read it, there's always an audio, like you can go to listen to the book and read it at the same time. So without technology, you're not going to be able to do that.
Right.
That's helpful as well. So
I,
like you have a lot like more choices with technology.
Absolutely. It's not just Google Translate. We can go out there and find the Cliff Notes in Spanish, in Arabic or Spanish or whatever you need. We also found like Macbeth, the movie, and you might have the subtitles and you could slow it down. There is a lot of choice in how you get support or find support for yourself. More choices now that we have technology. So I think choice in a couple of different ways. Choice in what you get to do and choice in how you get your help.
Mm-hmm.
Because in tech. So he says, the three big things are, what was the first one? Well, there's authenticity, choice or autonomy, and then purpose is another really big one. So purpose means like, what are we doing and why are we doing? And I know we all have the purpose that we want to learn and graduate. That's a good reason to be learning. But we've done some things with technology that helped people outside of our classroom. It was bigger than us. And I'll give you an example. Ali, like this, what we're doing right now, do you think what we're doing will help anyone besides the three of us?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
because it's gonna go around the world. It's not gonna stay in here.
And anybody can have like access to it. Can go afterwards and see it and watch it.
Does that do something for your motivation? Not just to practice your English, of course you're using your English here, but to engage in your learning and do something and take ownership of your own learning, that bigger purpose makes a difference for you?
Yeah.
For you?
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and we can even pick that up in our next session and talk about it more. I think Yuri just got here, so we'll be doing the next session at 8:00 Eastern. But I just want to underscore those three things, because do you know any students in our classes that are not motivated?
Nope.
Everybody's so
Nope.
excited. Everybody's so excited, and everybody's having so much fun learning. And I think that speaks to the fact that I wrote that book. I listened to Larry Ferlazzo, who is a guy that I follow. I've showed you guys, or Wendy, I know you know him because he published your article, and Ali, you've seen him too. But he talks a lot about helping students find their own motivation. And when we do these and keep eye on these, technology can really help us do that. Another example, I think, is the fact that when we did the Kahoot, and this isn't going to be a Kahoot session, but it's very easy to make a Kahoot about ourselves. Do y'all remember when we first did that?
In December?
Yeah, well, we did one at the beginning of the year, and then we did one around the holidays, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just want to underscore that I think the magic really happened when we put that out on the internet to teach other students about cultures or about our cultures. And then we started connecting and helping other kids. And then they were helping us. And that bigger purpose is just another easy way when you connect your classroom. Then there was authenticity also, because it was a real audience. So again, I'm gonna screen share now, but there's a lot of the projects that we do, and now I try to go through those steps of discuss to find out what you guys know and to explain to you who we might be able to connect with, discuss, and then discover, and that's where we do a little bit of research or find out what you know, find out what I know, and find out what we want to know. Discuss, discover, and then we connect, and we try to connect at least, either virtually or bring somebody in. And then reflect is the piece that I really feel like I need to work on with you guys more, is we need to be writing and talking about these experiences. Right after George Banfo left, we did spend a day or two talking about it, but I think we need to formally use that opportunity to really build our writing skills. So that reflect piece is really important for y'all's learning and mine. Okay, so I'm going to screen share again because I'm going to go back to the Padlet. So here's the Padlet, and anybody who's watching, hey, can you guys see the Padlet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so news and levels, here it is. It's just a link, so there's no picture in there, but I put that one in there just so people have the link to news and levels. Here's my contact information. Here's what I wanted to talk about was the goals that we're supposed, as teachers, we don't get to just do things like because they're neat. We have to always be aligned with goals for students. So if you're in a biology class, that biology teacher has goals for biology that we're supposed to be teaching you, right? The standards. And so for technology, the ones for ISTE, which is the International Society of Technology and Education, they have goals for teachers and students and administrators. And so I just want to go over these real quick that are first. Somebody made a cute graphic here with it's just a simplified version. We're not just supposed to be using technology for the sake of using technology. We're supposed to be trying to use it to promote creativity and innovation, to build communication and collaboration. The next one says research and information literacy, also critical thinking, problem solving, decision making. Digital citizenship is, you know how we talk a lot about how you can be, I know y'all get a lot of lessons in my class and other lessons about how to be responsible on the internet.
Yeah.
So we talk about digital citizenship and also technology operations and concepts. So I have a link to the gal who created this. But if you want to say it in a very easy way with technology, it's fantastic that it's helping us build our English. But just because you guys are learning English doesn't mean that you shouldn't have every opportunity that every other student has with technology. And these are the things we're supposed to be doing with technology. So a simplified way of saying that is how can we make it, share it, find it, solve it, protect it is the citizenship, and use it. That's kind of in student terms or in, helps me think about it in a certain way. So I just want people to know that I'm not just like flying blind, that I'm not just like, oh, what a neat project, let's do that project. I have to go back to that and think, am I using technology in a way that's not just closing a language gap that my students might have? I want to build leaders. I want them to go not just up to grade level, beyond grade level, and use technology at some of the highest, ways. And you guys rise to it every time you rise to it. So here's the thing that I want people to know that they have in the Padlet. We developed this as kind of a guide. Can y'all see this that says 5 keys to using tech? Hey, do you see Evelyn right there?
Yeah.
And that's right.
That's the back of your head, Ali. So this is a key that has really been helpful to me and really been helpful to some other teachers. There's 5 different keys. Am I using technology just to do language development? That's that top one. Yes, my whole goal of my class is supposed to be to build your English, right? And so I need to ask myself, is this promoting language development? Are the students getting better in listening, speaking, reading, and writing in English? I have to have that goal because that's our class, right? And then there's the bullets there. Does it adapt, just like you were saying, Ali? Does it give you some scaffolds? Does it give you some support to help you read it, translate it, let you do the biology, even if the book isn't in Arabic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's basic. But then you start going down and we really have to think about, okay, let's look at that activity of, the one we're doing right now. If we have our students Skype with other people and tell them what helps them, I would say that bottom one, authentic language use, that's different than just language development. That's an authentic opportunity to really use your language. And when you talk to Dr. Lowe's, Wendy, you were very excited to talk with him and you practiced what you wanted to say for a long time because there was going to be a real reason to use your English, not just practicing it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what that one's about. Authentic language use can be, before I had you guys, when I had your Ali, the kiddos at Spring Forest, we went to a restaurant, and before we went, we Skyped with them, And then our kids ended up teaching them, the restaurant owner, how to make African rice. Well, we used some technology to get everything they needed to be able to do that. But the point was, it was an authentic opportunity to use their English. And so I think connecting with Emily Francis's class. Do y'all remember when we wrote letters back and forth with them?
Yeah, we do.
2 classes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we did that over the internet, because they sent us, well, of course, even the Kahoot, that's all authentic. So that's the last one. These other 3 I want to talk about is the student-centered approach. Let me start from the top. Funds of knowledge. Are we using technology to draw on what students know? And are we also using technology to give what you guys know out, like contribute to funds of knowledge, like group, not just one thing, but where are we getting knowledge from? Is Miss Salva the only one in the textbook? No, there's a whole world out there that we can get knowledge from. But then you two come with knowledge. You have knowledge. The day I met you, you knew things. So how am I taking the funds of knowledge that you have and letting you share that with the world so that Emily Francis's class benefits? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these bullets here, it says, ask yourself, does the technology leverage the prior knowledge and build the necessary background? So let's take that Kahoot, for example. You knew things about Venezuela, right?
Yeah.
And Ali knew things about Ramadan.
Yeah.
And you put what you knew into an online game.
Mm-hmm.
And we collaborated together, and we put that out there. So those bullets there where it says, does it connect students with knowledge communities beyond our classroom? And does it provide tools for you guys to get what you need, but also leverage what you know and collaborate outside our classroom? That sounds like that would be such a hard thing to do. But the more of these that we do, it's not that hard. You're doing it right now.
Yeah.
You're taking what you know in this next session and in this session, and you're going to contribute to the funds of knowledge of the world. So we can do that with technology. We can break down the rules from our classroom. And the cultural responsiveness, I think we've done a lot of things. Even the field trip that we took to the archaeological site after we met the archaeologist, I think there's a lot of things, as long as we keep a space open to let kids go out and use the technology to learn more about cultures and to learn more and just honor what they bring. It helps me open a space to celebrate the fact that we all have different cultures. Do y'all feel like your cultures are celebrated in NELD in reading?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you have any examples of that you could share? I know I put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Do you want?
No. Okay.
Yes, because I feel that I'm like part of something, because I can contribute with some information that I know. Like if someone asks me, or can you share something about your country? And I say, okay, well, this is what I know. So that makes me feel that I have something to contribute with. And
Yeah, I think one of the tech uses from the very beginning of the year that you're reminding me of, Wendy, is a gal named Noah Daniel. I follow her on Twitter, and she's so great. She has these projects that she's let me use, that she puts out there for people to use. And her whole idea is, don't make them do it in a certain block of time, like 2 weeks. They can build it on their own outside the blocks of time, and they can present whatever day they're ready to present the project. And so we did some, like what you're saying, Wendy, about our culture, but also, do you remember What's in a Name?
yeah,
And
I remember.
Can you explain that project? The technology piece we used was that we put it in either a Google Slides or a Google presentation, but then we shared them out beyond our classroom too. But just to share with each other, it was very meaningful. And I think that hit a cultural piece, a responsive piece where we open a space for y'all to feel comfortable sharing those things. Can you explain what we did with one of those projects?
Yeah, well, in our classroom, like everybody had the choice, like three choices, I think: your country or your history, and your name, or you can choose like the one that you like. It could be anything. We work on that during class, and also we talk about our names, our backgrounds, and I remember that it was our choice, so you were comfortable with it. And in our classroom, we share it. And also, some students of other classes, they wanted to be part of it, so they came and we could present to them if we wanted to. But it was good because everybody sometimes do not have the same level, but we could all do it because it was our choice, right? Something that we were good with.
Both of y'all had presentations that just blew us away. Everybody did, though. Remember, by the time they had a couple of slides, whether it was about my name or whether it was about my journey or whether it was about my country and the difference, I think those were the three big ones that people chose. We
There's
learned.
one about my immigration story.
Yeah, you did that one, right?
And
Oh, yeah.
Yuri did one about the migration, right? Like the
Border crossing.
So
Yeah,
that's something very important. Yeah.
That's, I feel like, where we can use technology to really honor everybody, their culture, their heritage, and then we're learning about everybody else's. And it's an opportunity to share with the world from the perspective of all the kids in the classroom. I think it brought us together as a community in a really deep way. And so I got a lot of good feedback from the students that they really liked those projects. And it was a good way, like you said, a lot of kids who were very new to technology figured it out very quickly because they were very motivated to do the project and to share it. So thanks for weighing in on that. I want to go back real quick to I'm going to go back to the Padlet. So if anybody is wanting this Padlet, you don't have to have a Padlet account. Oh, look what I did. You can go to padlet.com/CarolSalva1 and you'll see my dashboard. And this one is called Tech for ELS, and that's ELS is English Learners. So we've talked about these 5 keys. We just talked about developing language, funds of knowledge, cultural responsiveness. Now the student-centered approach is really kind of difficult, you guys, for English. It was for me, teaching kids that at the beginning of the school year don't speak very much English. You as a teacher, you feel like you have to do everything and you have to say everything, or at least that's how I felt. Like I'm the only one who speaks English in here, so I have to do it all. But it's the more projects and things I saw, the more I started realizing, okay, there are many things that can be student-centered even while they're first learning the language. So one that I want to show, and if you two don't know what student-centered, you can probably figure it out, is the teacher the one talking the whole time and giving all the directions and doing it, most of the heavy lifting, or are the students taking ownership? So it says right here, will it facilitate a student-centered approach? The first bullet. Will it move students toward discovery, active discovery, not me telling them, but them discovering things? Will it allow students choice and voice? And does it actively involve students in a higher way of thinking, not just repeating, not just copying, but the higher order thinking skills are things like comparing and justifying and researching and analyzing things. And so here's a picture. I'm going to give her one that a lot of people really like, and it's called Mystery Skype. And so if you are, just go to Google and do the hashtag Mystery Skype, and you will see a bunch of things out there. A lot of things. I'll put a link in here that explains Mystery Skype for you, but I can explain it real quick. Actually, Ali, I know you did a Mystery Skype this year, didn't you? Or no?
I think I did with the archaeologist.
No, I think we're talking about something different though. I think I did it with my NELD class this year. I don't know if you guys did it last year. I think you were in my other class. So let me explain it, and then you guys tell me if we did it last year or not. Because both of you are not in my NELD class this year. Y'all were in my newcomer class last year. But the mystery Skype was when we connect with another class. You can do a mystery Skype with a professional. So we could have done one with an archaeologist, but we just haven't done that yet. We connected with the archaeologist we knew who he was. A mystery Skype is you don't know where the other people are in the world. There's another classroom out there, and they don't know where we are, and we don't know where they are. So your brother Muhammad did it with us. You were in the other class.
Yeah, I was in the other class.
You were both in the other class. So this year we did it with both my NELD classes. So this is how you set up a mystery Skype. You just find another teacher out there. I try to do one in the United States because my students are coming to the United States. So wherever you are, it's nice if you can find somebody first in your country, because it's going to have your students researching a lot about their city and their state or their province, so that they can answer questions. It's basically like a 20 questions game. Our class gets to ask a question, and then their class gets to ask a question. And then our class, and it's just a yes or no question. And then the first class that guesses, because we have maps, we have the internet, we have all these things, and we're figuring out where the other class is. So whoever guesses first, can you see this picture? Wait, I'm gonna screen share so you can see this picture. Because here's a picture of our NELD class this year. Screen share. Okay, so I'm gonna go show you the picture. Do you see the kids in that picture?
No.
No.
I'm still not screen sharing? Okay, I'm going back. I'm glad I got you guys here. Share. Okay, now I think you'll be able to see it. Oh my goodness. Do you see these questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are the questions that I printed out. Some classes don't give the kids the questions, but my students are learning English. So before we get on the Skype or the Google Hangout, I want my students to be able to practice. And also, I want them to answer these questions about our own state. Is your state east of the Mississippi or west of the Mississippi River? Are you in the Eastern or Mountain time zone? You know, we figure out where we are. Does your state border, you know, Atlantic Ocean or Pacific Ocean? You know, so we learn these things about ourselves so that we can play the game. And then these are the kind of questions that if their answer is yes, you get to ask another question. If the answer is no, it's their turn. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and so then, y'all, we should do this next week, okay? So let me see. Doesn't it look fun? So look at these kids in this picture. Can you see this picture?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is my NELD class from this year. Do you see the kiddos on the screen?
Yeah.
So they're playing the game with them right there. There's kids behind us who are sitting at computers who they wanted their job to be to look up the answer and to cross out states. When we started, you know, we asked them, are you east of the Mississippi River? If they say no, somebody in our class goes and crosses out all the states that are east of the Mississippi River so that we can start, you know, but the kiddos themselves are the ones asking the questions, our students and their class. And then we see who figures it out first. Is that it's so much fun, and I'm sorry we haven't done it yet. So it is a fun activity, and this is an example. Can you see how this is a student-centered example?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I didn't do anything except give y'all the questions, and then I back up, and then the students do the game, and they're driving everything. They're telling each other, you know, no, we are east of the Mississippi. We are. And so if you go to my, I put a link to the YouTube video of this because I didn't give the kids enough credit. I was telling the kids, well, hold on, we're new to our country, but my students were like, no, we know the answers. We've been studying all this stuff. So it was that's a really good example of a student-centered activity. So we've kind of gone over time. It's already 6:39 and we were only supposed to spend like 15 or 20 minutes. But I wanted to say what else we have here in the Padlet. There's videos of you guys using technology and going on field trips and things like that. That's right here in the Padlet. It takes you to my website. There's the book study for the book that's free online. There's, if you want your students to make it, oh, is that my dogs?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sorry. So then the Kahoot planning page. Do y'all remember using this planning page?
Yeah.
Yeah, we remember.
Did that make it easier for you to do that the first time?
Yes,
Yes.
a lot easier.
Because we had to write our own questions and draw a picture of it and write the right answers and 3 wrong answers. So
Yeah.
we
And
did
I
our
think
own things.
your own things. You got to choose what you wanted to share about, and then everybody can do this, even if you don't speak English. And so everybody just did one. And the cool thing I feel like is after that, then we can go and do it with biology, or we can do it with history, or we can do it with science once we've got the hang of making assessments. So that's pretty much all I was going to share. I have more that we could share, of course. So I put the podcast in here. I talk about you guys every week on that radio show. So people can go there and listen to that. What question, do you two have any questions? I better get on and see. I'm going to go and look real quick. Will you guys talk just a little bit about any advice that you would give? It's specifically about using technology on your own time to other students out there, or anything I want to talk about? Well, I'm going to go look for, now I'm lost. I'm going to go look for, I got to stop screen sharing. Okay, we're back. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys talk for a minute while I go look for some links that I promised to put in that Padlet. And I'm going to go see if anybody wrote anything on the chat.
Okay.
So you guys talk for a minute about your best advice in terms of technology.
All right.
Minister?
No, you want to stop? Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think it is very useful to let your students know that there are some tools for them, even if like when they are not in the classroom. Like if they do not have access to internet, maybe they can find some places nearby where they can use internet, like libraries or places that have that like internet available, so they can use tools like music levels or use the information that they learn in class in their own time. Yeah.
Is there anywhere in our neighborhood that you do that, Wendy? Or do you know of anybody, any of your friends that are taking advantage of internet outside of the school if they don't have it at home, maybe?
I do know in the school there's they have a service that they give you the Wi-Fi, yeah, this one.
Yeah,
They
this
have it
device.
from school. You can ask in school, and you also gave us some addresses during summer where we could go, and there's a place in the community, and I go there and I check some books sometimes, and they have internet. It is Family Point, but it's like in the community, and they have services for everybody.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends go there.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to need to. Okay, Ali, would you give some advice while I go and check the chat? I have to look in a different place to check it.
Yeah, sure.
Or you guys can just talk a little bit. I'll be right back. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So guys, there's a lot of websites that you can go online and you can go to like talk to people about like yourself, about like just to learn English. Like there's a lot of websites that you can go and just talk to other people that speaks English, and you get to learn, and they get to learn about you or about like themselves, and that's also gonna be helpful for you.
Yeah, and technology is very important in the classroom because I think it brings like everybody together because everybody can work with it. And also, for instance, when we are in class, I know sometimes it's hard, like because teachers say, "Oh, do not use technology while we are in class," but we need it
That's the worst
sometimes.
word I have ever heard.
Yeah, because they can be very helpful for us with some translations, and when we work together, it allows people to join, right? So it's very useful.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I know y'all have a bunch more advice. I went and checked the chat, and Monica Spillman and Reem from 8th period are both watching and said hi. So hi.
Hi, Reem. Hi, guys.
Reem, why aren't you here helping us?
Yeah, Reem, come on.
Come on. All right. So we have about 15 minutes before our next session. So I think we don't have any questions in the chat, but I'll be on Twitter this evening. I also want to invite everybody to come to our Abydos INT chat. And I know that sounds hard. I'm going to write it here. It's at 9 p.m., 8 p.m. Central. And this is the hashtag Abydos INT. So this is tonight at, like I said, 8 p.m. Central after Mad PD. And we are going to be doing these chats. It's a literacy chat. And tonight it's about free voluntary reading. So it's going to be a great chat. Just follow me around 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. And free voluntary reading and letting students read what they want to read. There's so many things around it that I'm looking forward to hearing input from people. So come and join us on Twitter for that tonight. Guys, I want to thank both of you very much. You're going to get maybe a 5-minute break. And then thank you. Thank you both very much.
Thank you, Miss Olga.
Thank you, Salva.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, big time. And thank you to our viewers. We saw that we had viewers through the whole time, so we just appreciate anybody who's interested in listening. And with the next session that we're going to have, and we're going to bring in Yuri because I know he's here, and it's going to be just more in general about, but I wanted people to have the information on the Padlet about some technology specific things. All right.
All right. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, bye. I'll see you in 2 seconds. Bye.
Okay.